One. Week 8 of the NFL was a full pandemonium. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot of trade discussion as well. So let's just jump into it right now and talk about week 8 in the NFL. Hayden and Alex are here. Bars will come in late. I don't know where Nico is. I assume he's trick-or-treating. So stay safe, Nico. We'll see you soon. All right. Let's first start about the big game that I said we would open with. What turned out to be literally the worst NFL game maybe ever. The New York Jets were able to defeat the New York Giants by a score of 13-10. Hayden, props to you and your team. You won fair and square. As for the Giants, those disgraceful pieces of garbage in a unforgiving, franchise-setting back loss with just the listen, the game was ugly itself. The Jets weren't very good either. But it was a matter of who played worse, and it was the New York Giants. And I will go on this podcast, look in the camera, and you, Dolo, you hear me right now and say that I was wrong about the Giants. I was wrong about Brian Daboll. This team is horrible. This team is disgraceful. And the moment I officially give up on this team and Brian Daboll was not the fact that at the end of the fourth quarter, 25 seconds left, 4th and 1, you just have to convert after an awesome Kayvon Thibodeau sack. You just have to convert a first down to win the game. And you have Saquon Barkley to run. You decide to kick it with Graham Gano, who apparently is injured. He misses it. Gives plenty of room for Zach Wilson to throw the ball, get downfield in the field goal range, and they tie the game. And it wasn't that play that made me lose my mind. It is the fact that you have a third-string quarterback on this roster who you do not trust to throw the ball in Tommy DeVito. What the hell does that say about this coaching staff? It shoots all the success and all of the progress you made last year and put it down the drain. What an ugly mess. Next year, ride or die. If you don't make the playoffs, he's gone. All of them. Brian Daboll has to be held accountable now. And he doesn't seem to know what he's doing with this team. What a difference a year makes. And yeah, Giants season's over. I'm here. I will watch every game. I will still be a loyal Giants fan. We'll see where we end up in the draft. But this was an appropriate way to end an abysmal season. As for the Jets, Hayden, what do you think about the Jets?
I mean, I'm not really, getting too much into the Jets. Ideally, it was one of the worst games in the history of the NFL. It was awful. Like, it was just an atrocious game. But that being said, like, you look at it at 4-3 without your quarterback, like the guy made the big plays down with 24 seconds to go, got you to tie the game and ultimately win it. So, I mean, it was an overall terrible performance from Zach Wilson. But I mean, in crunch time, actually, the guy in crunch time actually has been pretty good. Actually, for actually a sustained amount of time, he actually has the most game winning and comeback drives for any of the quarterbacks in the 2021 draft class, including Trevor Lawrence. He has 6. So I mean, that being said, if you would have told me at the beginning of the season, even despite the fact how ugly that win was and what they actually, it feels like they have to climb a mountain to win each week with Zach Wilson, a quarterback. It's just unbelievable what they have to do to win games. That being said, if you would have told me they would have been 4-3 at the beginning of the season, I would have took that without Rodgers. So, I mean, yeah, there's not really much to say. I mean, other than the fact that you're gonna play LA, and if you play great next week and you're 5-3, nobody cares about how you got this win. They're just going to see a W in the win column. So, I mean, at the end of the day, Zach Wilson has made the plays when he's needed to make them. Hasn't been great, but I mean, you won 4 games with him. You got to ride it out a little bit longer. Trust your defense. Let them make plays and show that you have an elite defense that's going to help you win games. And I mean, overall, they're going to have to continue to play perfect and elite. But they can win some games. It's not a sustainable formula consistently. But at 4-3, you gotta figure you got to be at like 8-7 or around that record, around 7-8, around that record, maybe a game or two off to be in the playoff mix. So they're going to be in the playoff hunt the rest of the season with this defense and with this run game. So, I mean, I think you got to ride it out and kind of get behind your quarterback for a little bit till Rodgers comes back.
Give them
I
credit.
completely-
A win's a win.
Yeah, exactly. That's the moral of it. The win's a win, especially when you have when one team has -9 passing yards. But
Yeah,
I
that
just no, I couldn't agree with both of what you guys said, just for different reasons. I think if you were to tell me that the Jets would have been 4-3 through 8 weeks, I thought I would have called you crazy, and that's with Rodgers. I had this team as like a third place team in this division because I was shaky about what they would look like. I knew they were going to be an elite defense, but they were going to struggle to score points, and a win is a win. And the reality is, Zach Wilson's been 3-0 the last 3 weeks, whereas Brock Purdy's been 0-3. And it's kind of crazy to think that in a world like this in 2023, that's the scenario that the Jets are in halfway almost through the season. I mean, they're hosting the Chargers at home, very winnable game on a Monday night. Then you have a bye. Don't ask me why it's a bye. It's a bye. And then you're going to Buffalo, and that's going to be a tough game.
Knowing the Jets to lose to Vegas.
No, never with my team, and we'll save that for later. But yeah, so you could string off 5 in a row here, and then you're going in with bouts of confidence into Buffalo, which again is a very difficult game, but it's not undoable. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. But look, we've seen how these divisional games have shaken out. Any team could give the other team disruptions, week to week. So I think it's very winnable. You just got to keep your head up and keep pushing forward and making the right adjustments week to week.
I mean, the Jets right now are in the position of about 10 or 11 other teams in the league who have, a pretty decent team, but need better quarterback play. I'm looking at literally I'm looking at the NFL right now. I'll give you about 10 teams that probably would be better with better quarterback. Colts, Titans, Browns, Steelers, the Raiders. You could argue the Giants, probably, maybe the Commanders, the Bears, Vikings, Buccaneers, Panthers, Cardinals. Like there's got to be about 10 or 11 teams who were in the same boat. Falcons were in the same boat as about 10 or 11 other teams. So,
of course,
I mean, we'll see.
But you got to remember too, like this league is about fortitude. NFL stands for not for long. So if these teams start to wear down towards the end of the year, it's a battle of the fittest. And the one thing you can rely on, two things you can rely on in this league is run game and defense, and they have that.
They both, yeah.
And to put a bow on this segment, trade deadline with this. The Giants were sellers. They traded Leonard Williams. They ate his salary and got a 2nd round and 5th round pick out of it. So solid job, Joe Shane, to save your face on this one. It's a pissed off Giants fan, an angry Giants fan. So good there. And then the Jets did not make a move. They did not get.
The Jets added a couple of linemen. They added one guy from who used to be a Buffalo offense, Roger Saffold, who used to be a Buffalo lineman. 2022. He only allowed 2 sacks when he played. So they added a lineman. They elevated someone else from the practice squad, I believe. So not too many big moves, but what basically Joe Douglas is saying is basically we trust the way our team is built right now. We're gonna let our defense and run a game win us games. So I was a little upset they didn't add more to the offensive side of the ball and maybe not add another receiver, if I'm being completely honest. I think they could have gave Zach Wilson a little bit more help. But that being said, like, you got to live or die by your defense. So it's, there wasn't too many big names to really add in the deadline.
Not really. And I think a lot of teams realize, wow, we really need these assets, especially backup quarterbacks, a year where a lot of quarterbacks have been going down. And credit to that. And I guess the last thing, Joe Douglas briefly said, didn't add much to it about Aaron Rodgers. We expect him back. Any speculation of what that actually means? And do you think you see him on the field in 2023? And the only other evidence we saw him right before Jets and Giants, stepping back, making throws, throwing pretty fast?
I mean, there's so many different things I could say about this, but I mean, if I talked about this segment, I'll be here till 3 a.m. So, I'll keep my thoughts about this a little bit, Mom. I do think he's going to come back in the last 2 weeks of the season. I actually do.
Wow.
That being said, there's just so many things in my mind that could happen that knowing the Jets, he'll come back and they'll be 8-7, and then somehow they'll lose the last 2 games and miss the playoffs with him at quarterback. So, knowing the Jets, that's what would happen. But I'm not going to let my mind wander there, even though every Jet fan secretly has it in the back of their mind. because we're the curse and we're the New York Jets. But I mean, yeah, hopefully he comes back and plays at the MVP level. But we'll see.
Yes, we will cross that bridge when we get there. Now let's transition to the Cincinnati Bengals defeating the San Francisco 49ers on the road by a score of 31-17. Joe Burrow steps up in a crucial game. Very comfortable, was not fazed by the 49ers defense, and he was able to put up numbers against them. 49ers had no Debo and no Trent Williams again, and Christian McCaffrey was only able to do so much. And Brock Purdy coming right off of protocol. Maybe you could debate, should he have started, yes or no? Regardless, they did put him in there, and he had a hard time against the Cincinnati defense. And obviously, the 49ers reacted with picking up Chase Young today at the deadline. So Cruz was still there. So first, let's talk about Cincy. What about this win?
Oh, well, I think.
Oh, here, yeah.
No, I just think it was a statement win for Cincinnati. You could see how eager they were coming out of the gate. They knew this was a crucial game for them. I think everybody knew that. I originally had Cincinnati only on the bait. I actually, you know what? I did pick San Francisco to win in a bounce back, but I knew that this was going to be kind of season changing for Cincinnati, and they treated it that way. You look at the offensive side of the ball. They played a pretty conservative first half. I thought that they controlled the line of scrimmage, which is, hence why you saw San Francisco on the open market get a guy like Chase Young. But I think, Mixon had a day. I think that Burrow looked clean and composed in the pocket. He played damn near a perfect game. And that was exactly what you needed to see as a response if you're going to be Cincinnati trying to make it back to the AFC Championship. So, again, San Francisco limps into the bye. Definitely not what we want to see going 3 straight. But as I've talked to San Francisco fans over the weekend, I've explained till I was blue in the face, look, if you're going to be a championship team and you're going to have a struggle, you're going to have a low, this is the time to do it. This is the time to figure this stuff out, get things cleaned up, get screws tightened up, and go back to finding your identity as a football team. And so Brock Purdy, obviously his confidence is shaken. He's going to go into the bye, and they're going to be looking over tape and watching, some of the misreads that he's had on the second level with the picks and miscommunication with his receivers. But I'm confident they're going to bounce back, and this is a great win for Cincinnati.
I mean, I'll talk a little bit about this. You got a tough schedule coming up. You got the Jaguars, you got the Seahawks, and then you got the Eagles. So those are 3, pretty difficult games, arguably. So it's going to be very, very difficult on them. 5-3. I mean, you could argue that they're not much. I don't think they're much better than Seattle, if I'm being completely honest. With Seattle's defense and the way Seattle could really throw the ball through the air with Geno, they're going to have some problems. They're a playoff team in the NFC, 100%. Nobody's going to say that. With the NFC, that they'll make the playoffs. But I think this is closer to a 10 or 11 win team than I think a 12 or higher team. Honestly, 100%. This is like if I had to say, they're 5-3 right now, I'd say they're probably going to finish closer to 10-7. They're not going to be as nearly the juggernaut everyone thought they were going to be. Like I think they're probably going to lose to Seattle once or twice. I think they could lose to Baltimore. I don't love the Jacksonville matchup for them. Philadelphia's a tough game, so like there are games in which they're going to have a tough time. And like I'm a little tired of people. I'm not going to say this word. But I'm a little bit tired of all the hype that they have, all the skill position, and it doesn't mean anything if it's not going to translate in the field. It doesn't matter. They could have an all-star squad. They could have a team of Pro Bowlers. It doesn't really matter. Like, if
so you don't think you don't think the injury with Trent Williams and Debo's had any impact on this offense?
I think it's had a big impact. Sure, yeah, of course, 100%.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that, but I'm saying when you have Christian McCaffrey, when you have Brandon Ayuk, like you have George Kittle, like you still have pieces on the offensive side of the ball. It's not like you have no one. And you had a quarterback supposedly last year from Brock Purdy who led you to an NFC Championship game. Like, I think you should be able to weather that storm, in my opinion. Like,
but I don't disagree with you, and I think they will weather the storm. I'm saying, conversely, I don't think this is indicative of who they are as a team. You're saying this is more closer to what they actually are.
I think this is more close than what they actually are. I think they're more closer to it.
Totally
I think they're more closer to a 10 or 11 win team than what people thought they were.
I couldn't disagree more. because the thing is, every championship team has a tough run during the middle of the period, middle of the season, and they go on a run. And this team is primed for that. They have the coach to do it. They have the quarterback to do it. The only question I have with them is not only just health, like with any team, but with Purdy, can you keep his confidence upright? Because when he has a clean pocket, he just has to game manage and not turn the ball over. They could have had three and outs yesterday, and they still would have prevailed that game because it was such a tightly conservative game on both sides of the offense that if he just doesn't turn the ball over, they're in that game.
I'm also a little bit concerned about their defense too, their pass defense. Like they were giving up yards galore to Kirk Cousins. They were giving up yards to Joe Burrow. I mean, could that be an anomaly? Yes, 100%. But like, I'm just a little bit concerned versus some of these teams that really could throw the ball. It's going to be a little bit of a problem. Like they versus Jacksonville, who I think Trevor Lawrence is a pretty good quarterback. So I mean, they could have some concerns in the secondary too, which I think people maybe aren't really focusing in as much because they have a great defensive line. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how much pressure that defensive line is going to be able to get on the other opposing team's quarterbacks.
So adding to that, San Francisco's add to their defense as mentioned. Chase Young, the star defensive lineman from the Washington Commanders, gets traded to the San Francisco 49ers for a third-round pick. So, we talked about what the potential can be. And I do think this one report's interesting. So a report came for the brand new pass rusher for the San Francisco 49ers. Chase Young was viewed by some Commanders coaches as an undisciplined player who developed bad habits, per Mike Silver. Young would reportedly deviate from assignments in an effort to make splash plays. Young will need to play well for the rest of the season in hopes to earn a big contract at the end of the year. So having said that, do you think if you're a 49ers fan, are you concerned at all about this news?
I'm not concerned at all because I think that's more indicative of a poorly run organization like Washington, because you can keep control over, when you're a well-run organization, you can have control over players and what they do on the field, and you can get to them. If the reports are saying, if we're taking them at their face value, that he's developed these traits and it wasn't something that they had seen, in college, that they knew about during training camp and whatnot, that goes to show you that it's nurture, not nature. So it's not in him. It's a product and a result of that locker room, that organization. So that could be more indicative of Washington than it is a forewarning for San Francisco, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. I think it has more to do with the dynamics and coaching staff for Washington than it does necessarily on the 49ers, because a lot of times when you have a player who's doing that, he feels like he has to carry the team or make a big splash play because they didn't necessarily have the products of really making those type of plays in Washington. And I think they have those guys in the 49ers, so he won't have to carry the load as much.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I think it's a bunch of hoopla and just people trying to make up excuses for what definitely will be a transition. Washington, I don't think Ron Rivera is there for the long run now. They've clearly accepted their fate, despite being 5-3, just a game out of the playoffs, knowing that this team isn't going to go anywhere. And yeah, it's too bad. But regardless, 49ers are stepping up. They have given up a lot of draft capital in the last 2 years to make this run. And I guess my final question regarding this is, do we at least see the 49ers win the NFC out of this?
No, I don't think I think Detroit is tougher, and I think Philly is tougher too. I think they're two more physical teams. I trust them a little bit more right now than I would trust San Fran. I don't see them coming out of the NFC. No.
Well, I think there's two different questions. I think the hierarchy Hayden has correct. I think it's Philly, then Detroit by a slight nudge, and then it's San Francisco. But I still think that they have a puncher's chance to prevail out of the NFC.
Oh, 100%. They have a puncher's chance. Without a question. Right.
But I would put, if I was a betting man, I would give the slight edge, even through all the issues that they're having right now. I would still put San Francisco at the end of the year a little above Eagles if I see what I'm supposed to see from this team bouncing back.
Right. That's fair. I mean, I'm just looking at it right now. I mean, it could be different by the end of the season, but I mean, I mean, we'll see. Right now, I think personally, I think Detroit and Philly are a little tougher, and I actually think Seattle's going to be a very tough team for them to beat too. I do actually, but we'll see. I'm actually liking what I'm seeing out of Seattle.
All right, entering this chat, we have Bars the God here to join us for the rest of it. What's going on, Bars? Good to see you. You are alive.
What's going on?
All right, great to see you, dude. And moving on to the Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Real quick, what did I miss so
come
far?
to an end. What
did I miss so far?
is this? Bengals, 49ers, Jets, Giants. So
Okay.
good amount still left. But anyways, Broncos won by a score of 23-9. All streaks come to an end. That includes losing streaks. They haven't won a game since 2015, and the Chiefs fall. Now, the Chiefs had plenty of excuses, I guess, in this defeat. Not scoring a touchdown, and whatever, right? Mahomes is allegedly sick with the flu. Travis Kelce was out at the World Series just 2 nights prior. I don't think that was a good look. What is he doing in Texas at the World Series when you have a game in Denver? And Taylor Swift wasn't there. So clearly Taylor Swift might be the true good luck charm here. So I'm going to ask a silly question. Are the Chiefs only going to prevail when Taylor Swift's in the building? Like, how do you lose to a team that gave up 70 points 1 week and only allowed 9 points against you? Very weird loss, I would think.
Let me jump off this one since I was away for a little bit. Quick couple notes. The Chiefs offense looked weak. Like you said, there was a couple bursts in late in the fourth quarter. Patrick Mahomes tried to come alive. The defense kept them within bounds for a really long time until like it got away from them. Patrick Mahomes had a couple floppy plays. But going on in Denver, there was a missed holding call, but I don't think it really would have affected the game too much. But Denver's defense was pretty much A1. Offense needed to win. Russell Wilson looked really comfortable. The run game was solid. And Sean Payton also needed that win. So yeah.
Yeah, I just think it was a bad week for KC. I go back to my old platitude. It's like these divisional games get squirrely. They're bigger toss-ups than people give them credit for. And I think Denver just simply showed up at home. They knew that this was a game to win. They had to win it to continue to even be viable for the playoffs, which I don't even believe they are. But I'm just saying the internal within the locker room is what that's telling them. And with KC, some teams just lay a dud. I mean, the offense didn't show up. And then, to your credit, Bars, like outside of Chris Jones, what is this defense really for KC? Ever since Spagnuolo left, they don't really have much firepower. They don't get after in the pass rush besides Chris Jones. They have guys who can push the pile in the center, but their corners are weak. Their secondary is a little shaky. And Russell Wilson, again, looked comfortable and just did his thing, and he wasn't asked to do too much.
I think this game is actually more indicative. I actually think Denver's been playing a lot better recently. They're 3-2 in their last 5 games. So I mean, I definitely feel like they're 3-5 right now. They still have to play the Raiders.
That's a bye.
You get the Vikings, you get the Browns without Watson, the Texans. Like there's some winnable games there. So I think they could sneak in some wins in here to maybe get back into the conversation a little bit. Russell Wilson does have 16 touchdowns in the year, which is a pretty high number actually. So it's good to see that their quarterback's starting to play a little bit. They're starting to come together a little bit under Sean Payton. Took some time. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, although they gave up 70 points to Miami, it's a 1 week thing. Weeks like that happen. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, like it didn't matter because they won the following week. Just like it doesn't matter what the Jets. The Jets won the ugliest game of all time this week if they go out and beat the Chargers. So it's a week-to-week league. I actually do think Denver could get back into it because I definitely feel like Russell Wilson has been playing pretty good. The defense is starting to come alive. They've allowed less than 20 points in 3 straight weeks to the Kansas City twice and Green Bay. They played pretty good. So going to be interesting versus Buffalo if they can create some turnovers. and we'll see. I mean, win a game or two here and there, you could get right back into it. 3-5, you're still giving yourself at least a chance in a weaker AFC. Although in a little bit of a weaker AFC this year than people might have thought.
Excellent takes on this one. And I guess we can't put the Taylor Swift blame for now, but we'll see how it goes. And let me say one thing. Kansas City have been having problems with their wide receivers. GM didn't step up and get a solid and another option for Patrick Mahomes. And if anything, if you saw that Sky Moore, who people thought he was going to be a special player this year, that he would break out and become a top receiver, we saw him drop balls as he's been doing all year long. And I think not figuring out how to get another receiver on this team will bite them in the butt later on. So disappointing stuff if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, but I hope they do not prove me wrong. So the Seahawks played the Browns. Seahawks stormed in a back and forth game with a huge win over Cleveland. I mean, what's going on with the quarterback position with the Browns, guys? Deshaun Watson wasn't allegedly healthy. I guess they really don't. I guess they, I don't know what to say. They don't want him.
Another team in quarterback purgatory with giving just too much money for a quarterback. Them and the Giants, the two dumbest quarterback contract extensions I would say in the history of the league. Daniel Jones, I'm sorry, Matt. I know you're not gonna like this. He was not even worth half that amount of money he got, and neither was Deshaun Watson. Being honest,
I've come around to accept that as well.
These two franchises are just dumb beyond belief. And if you're going to get the production you're getting out of Deshaun Watson and production that you're getting out of Daniel Jones right now, who, by the way, only won one playoff game, like 5 years, only won one playoff game. It wasn't like this guy, climbed
against my Raiders.
Only threw for 320 yards last year. Deshaun Watson just came off of pretty much I'm not trying to be graphic here, but had all these lawsuits against him, and that was a mess. I don't know why
we know what's happening. We know what
with that. I don't know why they decided to get involved with that. So those two GMs right there, the GM for the Browns and the GM for Joe Shane for the Giants should be in the hot seat next year if one of those don't work out. So if I'm Cleveland, I'm not even kidding. I'm thinking about drafting the quarterback next year. I'm definitely there. You trade up with that roster. Let's say they wanted to trade up for a guy like Michael Penix or Drake May. Let's say they would be one of the best teams in the league because they're a quarterback away. They have a really good roster. They have a great defense too. So they're a quarterback away. Interestingly enough, all the teams that we thought were a quarterback away with Seattle and Geno Smith. Geno Smith looks like a Geno Smith comeback player of the year last year. So they're up to a 5-2 start this year. They got Charbonnet. They got Kenneth Walker. They got Smith and Jigba had a nice game. Lockett, Metcalf. That's an offense that's going to be looking scary good. And Devon Witherspoon, who should be the defensive rookie of the year. So I think it's more Seattle's offense coming to life at the end of the game, and it's more the fact that Cleveland still doesn't have a quarterback.
I will say, Hayden, on the record, that as the days go by, I'm coming around that I was wrong about the extension of Daniel Jones. It's getting really bad.
Now you're coming around?
Well, like I said, this was the game. This was the game with negative 9 yards, as you mentioned before.
It does nothing to do with negative 9. It's just the fact that he's never on the field. He's never healthy.
No, you're right. I'm just saying as the Giants organization as a whole.
Yeah. With Cleveland, it's even worse because you have a quarterback who,
you gave money to somebody with insane allegations against him.
Yeah.
So, are we ready to talk about PJ Walker being better than Deshaun right now, or?
He's.
I won't go that far.
I
wouldn't either, but right now that's what it's looking like.
He's been serviceable he's been serviceable, but that's because they have a really good defense, Cleveland.
That PJ Cooper connection has been looking real nice. That's all I'm saying. Geno is, in my opinion, trending up. Like you said, he was the comeback player. Now he's just kind of establishing who he should have established himself to be when he first got in the league. He had 2 bad throws. Other than that, he had a pretty damn good game. And that defense is looking real good this year. I definitely see them in the playoffs. Pete Carroll's he knows what he's doing.
I'm just gonna talk about PJ Walker right here. In 3 games he's played, he's completing 49% of his passes. He's thrown 1 touchdown and he's thrown 5 interceptions. If that were Zach Wilson, I think they would have actually torched him on the field. Okay, if I'm just comparing that, but but he's not been very good. But that's because they have a they've been able to win some games in spite of PJ Walker, who PJ Walker is a fine backup. His career numbers, PJ Walker, are abysmal. Oh my god. I mean, I want to say he has. I'm looking at the statistics right now for his entire career in the game he's played as a starter. He has had 6 touchdowns and 16 interceptions. That's not great, but I mean, his teams have won 5 of those games. He's 5-4 as a starter when he's played. So like, I guess I'll look at it like that. But like, but he is a backup quarterback, and for a backup quarterback, he's fine. I'll say that. Which
I just
to your point.
I just saw him. This is totally irrelevant, but I saw him without his helmet on. He kind of looks like Gino.
Yeah, he kind of does a little bit.
Same head.
Yeah, I kind of got that too.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to belabor this too much. I mean, they just fell short in a tight game. I did like what I saw with them in that game against Indy, even though there was a lot of bad calls that riddled that ending. But yeah, I mean, Seattle's better than I had expected coming into the season. I thought they'd be closer to a 500 team. I think they could be vying for that second spot in the NFC West. And with Cleveland, it's just about closing games. I don't think they can do that because I think they're one quarterback away. PJ Walker is serviceable for now, but he's not blowing anybody out of the water. He's not a real threat on the field, so it's a little predictable when it comes to offense. But I like Stefanski. I like what they do on offense. Again, they've been down Nick Chubb as well, and we kind of gloss over that week to week. But I think once they get healthy, they get guys back and they start to gel with this offense. I think they could very well draft somebody even next year going into it. If you're gonna. You could. Well, I'm saying like you could sit whoever you draft for a year and really make it happen. So because I think they're that good of a team.
I mean, the Jets-Browns game in December is going to be a big game. Actually, could be a game for the playoffs. With two similar teams, two good defenses. So it could be a good game.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it should. You know who probably won't be playing for meaningful games in December? Probably the Buccaneers. After what I saw on Thursday, to confirm that Baker can't play anymore, let it ride it out, and he will probably be a backup quarterback. After a tough loss against the Bills at home, winning by a score of 24-10, on the road, Bills get a crucial win to have them feel comfortable. But the Bucs gave us some false hope the early part of the year, and they're not a good team. Very disappointing game for the Bucs and Baker. That was pretty bad. Am I right, guys?
I can tell you that I always imagined Baker to play like that. I can always tell you that when the Buccaneers picked up Baker, they didn't really do much to replace Tom Brady. Maybe I just don't like Baker, but it is what it is, and he's pretty much just showing me what I thought he was. Like, he's basically like, I don't know, Mike Evans is gonna, if he hits 1,000 yards this season to continue his streak, I'll be surprised. But at some point, it just seems like they were feeding Mike Evans, so he just kind of might. But I don't know if it's like Baker not getting through his progressions. But even though the Bills won that game, I still think it was a sloppy one.
Sloppy one for the Buffalo because Baker played a clean game. I mean, he may not have showed up in the second half, but he did play a clean game.
No, it was a sloppy one for Buffalo.
Oh,
where's your camera?
Well, yeah, I guess, but they also sacked Baker 3 times, which means that he was running for his life. I just think that it's kind of impartial to look at Tampa and assess them because I think they are a one-dimensional offense. I think Baker's being asked to do more than he's built up to be. I think he's like a B- quarterback. He's serviceable. He can make a throw here and there, but you can't count on him in a big game. And if you don't have a running game, you're going to regress to the means. So you're asking him to win a tough game on a short week on the road in a really tough climate, both fan base wise and weather wise. So I just think that it was a recipe for disaster coming out the gate. And I don't think it's necessarily indicative of what this team is altogether, but it was a quality win for Buffalo to stay alive in the AFC with the hierarchy.
No, don't get it wrong. I think the team itself is pretty good still. I just don't like Baker as their starting quarterback.
I mean, it's just tough because the NFC South is such a crapshoot right now. Like, nobody wants to win that division. It's looking like it's probably going to be similar to what a year. So I would say the Buccaneers are probably going to be in it till the end because no one in that NFC South really seems like they want to seize control of the division. I mean, the best team on paper is probably be the Saints. I'm just looking at it like who I think is the best team to both sides of the ball. Probably New Orleans. But that being said, they have inconsistencies. Atlanta hasn't shown you anything outside of the fact that they have a running game or two, a little bit of a running game that they could do anything. Jesse Bates defensively, they have a couple of good players defensively, but no one really pops out to you. So I mean, we'll see. It's probably the winner of that division will probably be like another 9 or 8 win team. So it's just that division's such a crapshoot that it's hard to really rule out any team not contending in that division because of how bad the division is. And I think Buffalo actually played pretty good. Josh Allen played a clean game, and he's starting to starting to find his form. But Buffalo's inconsistent, so you never really know what you're going to get week to week. So we'll see what happens.
That's the reason why I felt like it was sloppy because I felt like they should have been killing Buccaneers out the game. Like at some point, like Baker.
They're a better team. They're a better team than Tampa.
At some point,
it is hard to win this league. So we'll see.
At some point,
they got up the Bengals, who that could be. That's a big game next week. So we'll see.
I mean, they had a chance to be in the game,
and
but Baker just dropped it.
I've said it from the beginning of the season. I do think Buffalo will miss the playoffs. I said that from day one. I will stand by that statement. They play the Bengals. They still have to play the Jets. They still have to play the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Chargers, the Dolphins again. Like I think the Buffalo is going to implode this year. I just think they're way too inconsistent. Like I think the highs are too high and the lows are too low. I just see that. I see an implosion happening in Buffalo. I think it's been simmering over the years, and I think this is the year it finally happens.
I don't know if I'm on that bandwagon yet, but if I've already endorsed it, but I want to see a couple more games before I fully jump on that bandwagon with you, real talk.
All right, the Lions and the Raiders are playing Monday night. Lions at home bounce back after an embarrassing loss to Baltimore. Everything on offense was clicking. Goff was great. His receivers were great. Laporta was awesome at the tight end position. O-line protected him. The defense with 5+ sacks pressured Jimmy G the whole game. And what do you know for the Raiders? And Jimmy G probably played one of the worst games a quarterback can ever play, not giving any of his main receivers any touches until the second half of the game. I mean, I reckon I want to do any better, but man, what was going on? I guess unless they are purposely taking for the removal of Josh McDaniels, the Raiders are getting worse and worse by the week. I know, Alex, you added to that last week. But
that was an ugly performance by Las Vegas. They couldn't do anything offensively. Oh my God, that was brutal. They have a very big problem with Jimmy G because Jimmy G also has limited mobility and their offensive line can't protect him. Jimmy G, correct me if I'm wrong on this one. You watch every game. He looks like a statue back there. It's almost like putting Joe Flacco back there. He can't move at all. It's like shocking. Even Zach Wilson has some mobility. He can kind of move around in the pocket, kind of escape. There is zero escapability from Jimmy Garoppolo. It feels like week to week, which is probably why the guy's getting injured every week. And so it's kind of a bad offensive line. Not a great situation. You got guys like Devontae Adams. You got guys like Josh Jacobs, Max Crosby on defense, who outside of maybe Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt, when healthy, is one of the better defensive players in the entire league. So, I mean, you got star players like that. I mean, you got to build this team into a winner. McDaniels is a very good offensive coordinator. I'm not denying that.
No, he wasn't. No.
I mean, you got to be pretty good to win 6 Super Bowls with New England.
You got Tom Brady.
Helped. Tom Brady helped. Tom Brady definitely did help.
Stop it.
I'm not going to sit there and say Tom Brady didn't help, which obviously
he did it all. He
probably did do it all. But that being said,
if his departure going to Tampa Bay and winning right out the gate doesn't prove that it was all him, then I don't know.
Well, you could say the same thing about Bill Belichick too. I mean, you could say the same thing.
I know it's the same thing. Yeah.
But I mean, he probably is another guy that's a good offensive coordinator, but not a great coach. We see that all the time. So it's probably looking like another one of those examples. But you got to get a guy who pray for at the end of the next year. So first, I think the enemy actually.
You being honest,
I don't think that would be a bad hire if they wanted to go there.
if we being honest, the whole front office needs to go for the Raiders.
I'm with you on that. Front office is
at this point, I'd rather keep Derek Carr. And y'all know how much I dislike Derek Carr. Like, so
he's better. 100%. 100%. He's better than Jimmy G.
Jimmy G, y'all gotta understand. Jimmy G got this glorified this reputation, right? Oh, he won his like what first 2 or 4 games after Tom Brady went down. Oh, Jimmy G. Shut the fuck up. Jimmy G has not proven anything. What Jimmy G had.
Language. What you were saying?
Shut the front door. Jimmy G. Jimmy G has not done anything. He's helped us prove that San Francisco system is immaculate because you could throw any quarterback back there and it pretty much works. Like outside of that, Jimmy G ain't got nothing going on for him. He's had a lot of good games, but then he's had a lot of bad games. So who really
looking at himself, I went from this guy, Derek Carr, actually completed pass to this piece of
come on, like you saw Devontae. Devontae said, I'll let them kick my homeboy out for this.
Yeah, dude, Devontae Adams is losing his mind clearly.
Marbles, yeah.
So Alex,
the best meme I've seen was two foreign exotic ass cars under the garage or somewhat whatever you want to call that of like a low income, very, very poor Texas neighborhood. And it was like Max Crosby and Devontae Adams on the Raiders. That's exactly what you're looking at right there.
So what are we getting, Alex? Are we going to stay quiet? Are we going to just sit and suffer? What's going on?
I'm doing both. I mean, I've said enough that over the past few weeks to the point where it's gotten me in a lot of heat. This team has no place but down until they fire McDaniels and they get rid of Mark Davis, which won't happen anytime soon. I feel like at this point it's a humanitarian crisis. What's going on with Hunter Renfrow? He's someone who still gets no light, no recognition for I don't know how to describe the way that McDaniels is ruining his career. I would put it on a level like he's in the sand in Gaza right now. Like it's unfathomable how he's tanking his own career right now. And I really feel bad for the pieces that are worth mentioning. The only 3 that are worth mentioning on this entire roster are Crosby, Devontae, and Jacobs. And it's sad to watch them get ruined by this team, have their talents wasted and exploited on national TV with nothing to show for it. And if they weren't there right now, this team would be irrelevant. They wouldn't be watchable. McDaniels can't coach a Pee-wee team. I'm sorry. Like you've seen enough over the years. He was glorified and propped up by Tom Brady. And when he had his chance twice now, coaching in this league, he's failed in spectacular fashion. So I have nothing more to say.
I get it. You have the right to feel the way you do.
Well, it's not a matter of how I feel. It's just just use your eyes. Watching this team, they're an aberrant mess. They're horrific. They're anemic on offense, allegedly governed by a guy who's an offensive magician. I don't see it.
Shoot. All right. The Ravens played the Cardinals this week, and Lamar Jackson had another good game.
I usually won't say that, but the situation with Gaza is pretty serious. So I just want to put that out there. It's like let's be careful on that.
Yes.
Yeah,
fair.
that's wild.
All right, moving on to football. We have the Ravens and the Cardinals with a score of 31-24. Ravens handled Arizona pretty mightily despite staying in there. And despite Odell Beckham being mad, he gets no catches. Do we see now that the Ravens can be considered a top team in this league after this week?
No. I'll let. I know Alex has a big thing on Lamar, so I'll let him talk about that.
I'm not gonna poo-poo Lamar too much for this game. I think it was definitely too close for comfort against a rebuilding team on the road to be in a one-score game. But I don't necessarily put that on Lamar per se. I thought that he played, a sub-marginal game, which he tends to do on occasion. But, a win's a win. I'm not really going to criticize it too much. I think that they do have, worries and routine concerns, through the air. I think that Gus Edwards had the game of his life and kept them, in the game in terms of the ground attack, and that's what they do best. But, Arizona's a bad team. They're scrappy. They're going to stay in these games, and that's kind of what you saw.
In terms of this game, I think I do think Lamar did what we could to win the game. Didn't really have to do much, like you said. I just think it's more like Arizona's really not good. Right now, Arizona's a 117, so they did what they were supposed to do, beat a 117, and you move on. You're 6-2. You're still one of the the AFC elite blue bloods right now. With Jacksonville, Kansas City, you give yourself the chance, and then arguably Cincinnati's going to start coming back too. So, give yourself a chance to stack up some wins, and it's always good to beat an inferior team, and that's exactly what the Baltimore Ravens did. So, good win for them. Just continuing that winning ways, but eventually they're going to start to play teams that are a little bit more on both sides of the ball than the Arizona Cardinals.
I'm gonna agree with.
Real quick before Bars you go. November 16th is the date to pencil in because they got Bengals go to the Ravens on a Sunday night. Go ahead.
That's going to be a great.
They might.
Tough game.
That's Sunday night game. Yeah, I was going to say they're just going to flex that, but Sunday night game that'll be a big one.
That's going to be a great, tough divisional matchup. I'm not going to read too much into this victory by the Ravens, and no, I'm not putting any stock into them after this win. Arizona's been really, really scrappy all year, but that doesn't mean that a team that did what they did to the Lions shouldn't have done it to the Cardinals. You know what I'm saying? So, like you said, the run game is where they live. That's kind of pretty much their system, but they need more in the air attack. Like Odell didn't catch anything, but Odell's pretty much like a shell of his former self. So I'm not really looking for Odell to be really much on that offense regular season time. I'm looking for Odell because we know the Ravens will make the playoffs the way they're looking right now. But
it's all about Lamar's health. Like last year they were I want to say they had around the same record at this point last year. Just Tyler Huntley eventually had to play. So if Lamar Jackson stay healthy, this is an 11-12 win team. If he can stay healthy, he's got to stay healthy the full year. Which is
kind of rough because while he is a good passer and while he does have good pocket awareness, sometimes he has a lapse in his pocket awareness.
He makes enough plays where you can live with the few mistakes he does make because he takes care of the ball pretty well. Actually, he doesn't throw too many interceptions. Yeah. Right now, if I'm looking at how you have to consider Lamar Jackson,
I'm kind of getting a little nauseated by this continual talking point that if they just stay healthy, they're an elite offense. When you're built around the run, how do you expect to stay healthy? I'm sorry, that's just common sense.
It depends.
That's a good question. That's a real good goal.
We're gonna keep playing this game, but all these guys get hurt through the run game. So I'm just curious how this is supposed to end.
It really
with a concussion.
With a first round exit.
It's an interesting point you make. I'm not even.
Oh, is it?
It's an interesting point you make, but at the end of the day, certain guys they probably have to develop him a little bit more in the pocket. But
So what happens when he goes up against Burrow and he can't outgun him?
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I personally think they got it. You can't play afraid. Honestly, you can't play afraid. Injuries are going to happen, but it really all is hinging on the fact that if Lamar Jackson can stay healthy, which is there's a good chance he won't.
Honestly, I'll go deeper to say that it involves with Mark Andrews staying healthy because like Alex said, they can't just do it on the run game alone.
They have a pretty good defense too, so
you can't stay healthy. Yeah, their defense is good. The defense will keep them in games, but them boys will get tired, man.
Also have one of the best
with all these good defenses and poor offenses.
That actually helps.
And also have Zay Flowers get some touchdowns in there.
Zay Flowers has been good too. Mark Andrews,
yeah, he's trending up. They still have to.
But
he's making a lot of mistakes.
Use Odell more.
to be honest. Maybe I'd use
No,
Odell.
he's a name. That's it.
Odell's washed, in my opinion. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right, one team that's definitely not washed, and I'll have to give them credit, is the Philadelphia Eagles defeating the Washington Commanders, which was another team that lost their season on Sunday. The Commanders had them. They had the Eagles. The Eagles even failed at the tush push. They failed the tush push, and they weren't able to capitalize. Commanders are sellers, clearly. Montez Sweat goes to the Bears. Chase Young goes to the 49ers, as mentioned. And it was a tough loss for the Commanders. And I give credit to the Eagles. Give credit to A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts felt pretty comfortable there. And this is the real difference between the championship winning teams and the teams that fall short. You win those very close games that I don't even think a lot of people would poo-poo the Eagles if they actually lost that game. But no, they actually won. They made the comeback. They made their adjustments. Despite a very bad game defensively, they were able to get this win. So props to the Eagles. And the Eagles are them, unfortunately, as a Giants fan to say. But I think this game in particular will be a highlight on the DVD video if they wind up winning the championship. Huge win for the Eagles.
I mean, the Eagles showing time and time again they're a championship tested team. They know how to make the big plays when they have to, whether that be the tush push where they have to get a yard or make a big play to A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts using his legs and mobility to make plays. They got a running game now with DeAndre Swift. They're a pretty good team. They're going to be a tough out for teams to beat. And arguably, if Jalen Hurts didn't implode on 3rd and 9, throw an interception, they'd be 8-0. So I mean, all this team does is win games. They're battle tested. Coming off a Super Bowl appearance, there's no reason to think that they're not going to be right in the mix towards December, January, maybe in February. So, and Jalen Carter has been a beast too. So that's also helped on the defensive side of the ball too.
Really transition well in the league.
So unfortunately, in my opinion, while this was like a tough fought loss for the Commanders, I feel like it's an even bigger loss on their defense.
He did suffer a back injury, Jalen Carter, which thank God isn't so severe. Which thank God, but he did suffer a back injury. So he could be ready for Sunday's game versus the Cowboys, which is a huge, very good news for the Eagles.
Let's talk about the 49ers gaining Chase Young. I mean, that means
we already had that part of the conversation. So
no. I'm not gonna dive too hard into it. I'm basically gonna say that's big for the Commanders. Like, honestly, I think after this move, while they were doing good with him out, now you saw what the improvement on their defense when he was there. Like, I feel like that's a big hit for the Commanders. So while they did lose that game, I feel like losing Chase Young was an even bigger loss.
They also sold off Montez Sweat to the Bears. So they're dealing. Selling off. They're selling off pieces. They're trying to sell.
So they don't even have the defense anymore. Oh.
That's what happens in this league. You got to win right away when you have those players. If not, you're going to waste their time.
And that's too bad because Sam Howell's actually played okay.
He played really well.
I actually don't think Sam Howell's played bad. He's actually in his rookie played pretty decent actually. He's taken too many. I think
that's his best game.
Has taken way too many sacks this year, but the guy has pushed the ball downfield. Right now he has a 90.1 passer rating, which for his first year, 13 touchdowns, 67% completion percentage. He's been better than what people would have thought he would have been in his first year. So you gotta be kind of optimistic that you have a guy who maybe could be your answer moving forward, with Sam Howell.
So what did they get for Montez Sweat and Chase Young?
Chase Young was a 3rd rounder with the Montez Sweat. I don't know off the top of my head, but regardless, Commanders have to make sacrifices. We have to make sacrifices in this life, especially when we don't want to. Unfortunately,
did they pick up an offensive line piece?
They got a 2024 second. The 2024 second. That's actually a pretty good haul for Montez Sweat. So,
it's too bad. Too bad. The Vikings played the Packers. The big story here is the Vikings go 4-4 and can now compete for a division. Kirk Cousins tears his Achilles, out for the rest of the season. One thing you can argue, that play was a 3rd and 19. They were already up big late in the game. Were we having a Booby Miles moment, it seems, but it's too bad.
I don't think it was, it wasn't that. But that being said, you're right. Yeah.
Yep. Well, what are you gonna do? Can't go in the back, but no Kirk Cousins, no Justin Jefferson. The Vikings are at 500 starting in November, and they made a deal to bring Josh Dobbs into the mix. So, my question to you: are the Vikings able to compete for a division now with Josh Dobbs and no Justin Jefferson?
I
No,
mean,
I think their divisional chances are over. A 7 seed in the washed up NFC, where 8 or 9 wins could get you in the playoffs. Potentially, yeah, they'll be in it. They'll win a couple of games with Josh Dobbs,
But not the division. They'll get some games to play.
Detroit's a much better team than Minnesota.
I do feel that they still got a chance though with Josh Dobbs. Like, arguably, Josh Dobbs was the spark of that Cardinals team. Like, in my opinion, like he kept them like within fighting like distance for a lot of those games. Aside from that, like no Justin Jefferson. They got KJ Osborne. Still, he's a really good receiver. Jefferson takes a lot of that spotlight.
I don't mind Madison. Alexander Madison isn't bad.
Yeah, Madison's all right. I think that without Dalvin Cook though, he does take a lot of hit.
Makers. I mean,
you know what I'm saying? And that where it's gonna lower his production, taking on them hits eventually. Like Dalvin Cook, like they don't realize how much he actually was a big part of that offense. But aside from that, like I don't know. It was an interesting game for Green Bay, but ultimately the Vikings took that.
But
as sadly I predicted.
Cam Akers, Madison was he was shut down a little bit in the game. He only had 31 yards on 16 attempts for last week, but they still got Cam Akers, who's explosive a little bit. So with those two guys, could be an interesting change of pace from 1-2 combo. Could be.
Yeah, but we will see. Shouts to Jordan Addison, though. He's a very fun player to watch. And Packers just on a long road to relevancy and get those games in for Jordan Love.
What do you think about Jordan Love? I mean, I know he's had some issues, but I mean, I know you're going to face your lumps in his first year. He's okay in my opinion. Hasn't been great. So
hey man, God bless him.
I don't think you have like really, really high confidence in Jordan Love. But that being said, he hasn't been like incredibly, horrifically awful where you're like, God, this guy is atrocious. Like, this guy can't be the quarterback. But there's no like defining signs, in my opinion, this guy can be. So, a little bit like I think the jury's still out on him, to be honest.
Yeah, no, definitely no need to sell him off right away. He showed that he can, when he's on point, he's on point. But I think it's just a matter of getting more reps in and taking a bit of the humble juice, if you will. Jacksonville Jaguar.
Real quick, I was just going to say, just for reference, Aaron Rodgers' first full season, he went 6-10. So, it's just something to consider as well, like when we look at the trajectory of Jordan.
Yeah, definitely. That's why you got to give him some time, for sure.
The Jacksonville Jaguars went into Pittsburgh and defeated them by a score of 20-10. Jacksonville goes unfazed, steals terrible towels from people, and beats Pittsburgh in their own house. Jacksonville is going to be fine. They are really stepping up. But what about the Steelers?
I mean, on some real shit, on some real stuff, like real talk.
All right, that's true.
Matt Canada got to go. Like, yeah, the last game we played, he opened up the playbook a little bit, but then it's like he just regressed right back to it. Kenny got hurt. Without Kenny getting hurt, I felt like we would have been in a better chance to win this game. Mitchell Trubisky is just not it. You know what I'm saying? He did have a touchdown though. Outside of that, like Jacksonville, they played okay. They played a really good game. They took the game from us. The Steelers just got a lot of things to work on offensively. As you can see, that defense kept us in the game. Like, but outside of that, we still got a lot of offensive struggles. Probably too late to get rid of our offensive coordinator, but I don't know.
Well, your defense is elite. I just you just keep harping on the offensive woes. I just think they're too predictable. Pickett's going through the motions, but it doesn't seem like there's any element of surprise with this team. I think they have the longest consecutive streak of games under 500 yards of total offense production.
56.
56. And I think that just goes back to kind of the struggles that they're having. They're just too predictable on offense. They're not bursting holes. Najee Harris, he's a bell cow back, but he doesn't split off the blocks. Like, he doesn't get the yardage that he needs to really break away. And with Jacksonville, I mean, it's just more of the same. They're just a well-oiled machine. They're hitting stride right now after a rough start coming out of the gates. And they were efficient on third down, 6 of 13. They played a pretty tight game. They dominated time of possession. And even still, all of that, they had their turnovers that the Steelers created, but they just couldn't capitalize on them. So I think it's more of an indictment on that Steelers offense than it is Jacksonville. I mean, they're just they're rolling right now.
Yeah, Jacksonville looks like a well-oiled machine, like you guys talked about. Like, I'm sticking with my prediction of Jacksonville as the number 1 seed in the AFC. I said that at the beginning of the season. I'm gonna stick with that. I feel like in a weak AFC South, they're gonna win a lot of games in that division. They got a lot of winnable games, and they find a way to win a lot of the close games. So it's a good formula for success. Another question that we haven't asked is, Mike Tomlin never had a losing season and head coach since 2007. Is this going to be the year that happens where they finally have a losing season? I think very well could be. I think this is.
Hey,
I think this is.
Don't you wish that evil on us, Ricky Bobby?
Don't you put that on evil on me.
Mm-hmm. The Dallas Cowboys just annihilated the Los Angeles Rams at home. The Cowboys just had a true beatdown against the Rams at home. I mean, nothing went right for LA. We might have a hurt Matthew Stafford. Maybe this team really isn't a well-oiled machine like some others. But the Cowboys have a solid win to boost their morale. And talk to me about what you got out of this game for both teams.
I was really disappointed with the Rams. I was kind of riding with them. I thought that they would have a bounce back in this game to get back to 500 and get back to their winning ways. But I just thought that Dallas dominated them from the beginning of the game to the end. They came out hot. They scored. It was 33-9 at half, Dallas. So it was an upward battle, and they're not built to play from behind the Rams. So right out of the gate, they have to win through the air, and they have to score quick, and they're not equipped to do that with Stafford. So I just thought that they just started off too slow, and kudos to Dallas. They put the hurt on. They took care of business at home. They won on all three phases of the game, and I mean they were just getting chunk play after chunk play after chunk play, and Dak didn't even look uncomfortable back there. He looked very composed. 25-31 with 4 touchdowns. And yeah, it was a rout.
Bad time to have a route if you're Los Angeles, don't you think?
Dallas is looking pretty good. He got a really good defense. When everything's clicking, they're an elite team, Dallas. But they play Philly next week, so that's gonna be a huge week. 425 game this Sunday. That's gonna be, Dak Prescott is finally starting to. If Dak Prescott can bring it all together, there's no reason why that team also can't be contending for a Super Bowl as well. I mean, we'll see. I mean, is this probably, like Steve and I said, I actually think this is probably Dallas's best shot to actually make the Super Bowl. I do, actually, because I don't feel like anyone is like so unworldly. I don't think Philly's unworldly. I think Philly can be beat. San Fran can be beat, as we've seen before. Even Detroit, like, until Detroit hasn't shown you anything yet, so they're still relatively unproven. Like, they have limited experience in a big game, so neither does Dallas. So, but they're more than Detroit recently. So I mean, this is as wide open for Dallas as it's been in years. So
I mean, I'm not going to give any.
Is it going to be a good Dak game week, we'll see.
I'm not giving any stock into Dallas because it's always like this. Like, oh, Dallas this, Dallas that. Dallas shows us a lot of flash, but then out of nowhere, sometimes they'll just like throw the game away. Literally, Dak will throw the fucking game away. So until I see this Cowboys team like really win some games, like in the playoffs, like really take it their NFC champion, I'm not really going to give them any stock, any credit. Like this team is like high scoring one day, low scoring the next. Like I need, I don't know, some more like high powered games. And then I'll be like, yeah, you know what? Dallas actually might be doing something this year. Until then, the Rams just kind of basically disappointed me. Like Alex said, I thought they would bounce back. They didn't really bounce back. It was just a disappointing loss for them.
You know, who didn't have a disappointing loss was the Miami Dolphins. The Patriots sure did. 31-17 was your final score. Dolphins back to their winning ways, and a perfect example of a speedy offense when healthy, just making any defense look silly. Even Jalen Ramsey returns. People thought he would be back in December. No, he comes back and gets an interception. So you know what that means. Maybe your defense is also improving for Miami. And let us officially declare that it is time to tank for the Patriots, right?
Yep.
100%. Bill Belichick needs a quarterback more than he needs a quarterback desperately. I mean, almost as much as any other. Like, if he's going to survive in New England, then first of all, they got to strip him of his GM powers because he's done a terrible job. Horrific. I say it every week. He's done a horrific job. Horrific. Not terrific. Horrific with an H. They got to get a new GM in place right there. They just don't. They don't have enough talent on the offensive side of the ball to compete with teams like Miami. You know, so like their best player on offense right now is Kendrick Bourne, who's Kendrick Bourne's
and
a
he just got hurt.
He just got hurt
for the season.
But he can't be a number one guy. So I mean, shame on him. Shame on him for giving Mac Jones this little help. Shame on him. You want to talk about a guy who ruined a guy's career? He ruined Mac Jones' career, arguably, by just being completely inept at drafting offensive players.
Big joke with the J. I knew when you were going to put in a quarterback who looks like a frat star with give him credit, national championship, whatever, with the big cigar.
No, I mean, in his first year, he took you to the playoffs. Like he's shown a little bit of flashes. But that being said, like you can't give him the offense they've had and expect good results. And they've had 3 different coordinators. None of which
I
you've
don't know.
had.
You could argue the defense that year helped them a little more too, but I give you credit.
Yeah, the defense is good, yeah. But I mean, at the same time, like it doesn't help that you've had 3 different coordinators. You had the O'Brien, you've had 3 different coordinators there. So
Matt Patricia,
and Joe Judge. It's the
what a joke.
I mean,
Where are the Patriot fans at? Grew up with all of them gone, every single one. Literally, I've dealt with a lot of them growing up in the Northeast, and they have disappeared like a pain in your ass, and you got some Advil to get rid of it.
They're like herpes. Weird one. Back.
I hope not, but the Panthers won by a score of 15-13. The Panthers got their first win. Yay! Nice stuff. I guess. Texas had opportunities, but they couldn't capitalize throughout. And that's it.
Credit to Bryce Young for finally getting a W in his rookie season.
I knew he would.
He definitely had some struggles with being a quarterback for the Panthers, but good to see them. Good to see him get his first win. He's going to take his lumps. Nice to see 2 young quarterbacks playing each other. Hopefully that's going to be the first of many between CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. He started to play better. He's completing 64% of his passes, Bryce Young. Guy has 7 touchdowns. He threw for 235 yards with a touchdown and a pick. Hasn't thrown an interception the last 2 weeks. So he's definitely starting to come around a little bit, Bryce Young. Hopefully he can continue to develop and give you something to look forward to in years to come for the Panthers fans. And hopefully we could see more CJ Stroud versus Bryce Young because CJ Stroud looks like a baller. I mean, CJ Stroud has been awesome this year.
He was a baller, could look taller.
Yeah, but he's been pretty good this year. Has only thrown 1 interception through the first 8 weeks of the season. So that's
the future is bright for Houston.
Future is bright in Houston. Yeah, definitely.
DeMarco Murray's a good coach. No, DeMarco Murray.
DeMeco Ryans.
DeMeco Ryans.
Yep. I like him. He brings the energy for the team.
Really not too much from this game. I kind of just it was like watching a bunch of kicks, honestly. But like this game was just number one versus number two. I think they said it was like the fifth time in history. But I kind of knew that Bryce Young was going to get that win. CJ Stroud was going to cool down eventually. I'm not saying he's going to cool off. I'm just saying like after such a good streak, he was bound to have like a mid game. So like it is what it is. Nothing really good or nothing really bad for the Texans. They just got outplayed. That's pretty much it.
I mean, it's 15. It was a 15-13 game. There's not really much to talk about.
Yeah,
like not really,
it was boring, but like it was okay.
So let's move on then. Where the Saints played the Colts, they won 38-27. Saints get a much needed win after a very bad loss Thursday night. The Colts are really good at keeping games close and losing them, but hey, they still try to figure themselves out, and it's too bad because they really have a very good offense. Jonathan Taylor looks like he's back. Michael Pittman's solid. The defense just keeps giving up way too many points. Talk to me about Saints and Colts.
The Saints are another one of those teams that they're just maddening. They win some of these games. They blow out teams, and you see the talent they have on both sides of the ball with Derek Carr and that defense. You would think this is a team that's going to win like 11 or 12 games. Looking at them certain games, right? But just by how they blow teams out, they blew out the Patriots. They smacked. They play pretty good versus the Colts. Put up 38 versus the Colts. They have certain games where I'm like, wow, like they look like they're one of the elite teams in the NFC. And then they have certain games where they just have clunkers offensively. So it's very inconsistent team. In a weak NFC South, I still think that's the team that's probably going to win it if I had to pick one. And you get games versus the Bears and the Vikings. So if you want to be taken seriously, you should win those two games. But I mean, that being said, it's just they're a maddening team, the Saints. But they're one of those teams that they're just maddening to watch because you never know what you're going to get week to week. Or they could lose by 17 to the Buccaneers. So,
It's like I don't know. The Saints that game was kind of interesting. It's pretty interesting. Like I like what I saw from Gardner, even though I'm not a big Gardner guy. So I will say like my stock on him is going up a little bit. But if they stay healthy, like the whole team, like quarterback, Jonathan Taylor continues to play at like how he played, then they actually can be like a wild card, I believe. If Anthony Richardson comes back, it's definitely.
I would have loved to see Anthony Richardson with his team because I feel like Anthony Richardson would have been able to run the ball. Gardner Minshew has actually been really good, actually. Like
his last game was
able to win games for these seasons. His numbers have been really good. It's more that they haven't played good on the defense side of the ball, which is as a Colt fan, you should be frustrated because they've had 3 games which Gardner Minshew has played well enough for you guys to win those games. So,
but man, fucking the Saints played a hell of a game. Derek Carr is probably best Saints game. Taysom Hill is like the
Taysom Hill is a Swiss Army knife, bro. He is much in the field, bro.
The QB version of Christian McCaffrey, legitimately. And then you can honestly really kind of see that offense is really starting to gel. Kamara coming back was real big for them. Like their red zone was almost abysmal. He comes back, they got a red zone. If
you look at what Taysom Hill could do, he's probably one of the top 5 players in terms of what he can actually do. Like he plays special teams. He can catch passes. He could play quarterback. He could go in a wildcat. Like he's I would say he's probably one of the top 2 or 3 most versatile players in the entire league.
Like I wonder how many designs plays they just have.
No, it's just unbelievable how much you can actually do with like Taysom Hill. Like it's just crazy how much the guy can actually do.
And then
right.
Shaheed, playmaker. He's looking really good. I don't know. Keep an eye on him. I think he's going to continue trending up. But yeah.
What do you think of this game, Alex? You think this is more Saints or a inconsistent Colts team?
I think both teams are unfortunately very inconsistent.
Yeah.
I like. I do like New Orleans. I was kind of leaning towards Hayden's camp towards the beginning of the season, not to his extent because he's got him going to the damn Super Bowl. But
that was crazy. That was. I listen. I'll stick with that one. It's a crazy one, but
I definitely had them winning easy division in a down year. I think they're they're more than competent enough to do that on both sides of the ball. And I do believe in Dennis Allen, and I like his relationship with Carr over the years. Obviously, I highlighted that he got drafted by him back in Oakland 8-9 years ago. So they can kind of rekindle things as the year progresses. But I expect this New Orleans team to keep ascending. Indianapolis, I think that they could hover around 500. They may be able to sneak backdoor into a wild card spot as a 7 seed. But again, AFC South, I only see one team coming out of that, unfortunately, and I think that the AFC North and the AFC East, they both look like they're having 2 or 3 teams.
Although we'll talk about another quarterback in that division that looked pretty good on this week, bro. One of the quarterbacks in the AFC South looked pretty good.
I think it's a good time to talk about that guy now, and you're talking about Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans, who got a big division win over the Atlanta Falcons. Man, the Falcons first don't know what they're doing at quarterback, but Will Levis throwing a few touchdowns, feeling pretty poised in the pocket. I guess my only question for you guys is: Will Levis the real deal, or is this a one-off?
Nah, I got to tell you, man, some of those throws he made off the back shoulder, one of those throws, he had three of the 10 longest throws all season were from Will Levis. I mean, he's got a cannon for an arm. Wow. Guy is an absolute cannon. Not too much stock to put in for 4 touchdowns in his first game. Marcus Mariota was another guy who did that in his first week, and Marcus Mariota was an okay quarterback. Very serious. Former Titan, yeah. So like not too much. I mean, but if I'm just looking at the arm talent, like the guy is an absolute cannon of an arm. But they also say the same thing about Carson Wentz, who had an absolute cannon of an arm too. So he's got to put that together consistently. If you're looking at your opening debut, 4 touchdowns, no picks, and some of those throws, which were absolute dimes, off the deep, guy could throw the deep ball. So I mean, it's definitely, you should be extremely encouraged as a Titan fan.
I mean, honestly, I'm gonna counter that by saying he played the Falcons. Like,
Falcons have a pretty good defense, bro. Falcons defense is pretty good.
Their secondary's high. So throwing 4 touchdowns on the Falcons, that's cool.
Bro,
like he plays the Steelers next week. That's an even better defense. He plays the Steelers. Let's see what they do. Or this week coming up, they play the Steelers.
You got to see what they do. What you saw though, definitely. I mean, the eye test, bro, looks pretty good in the eye test. But we'll let Alex.
Eye test on one game. I can't run the eye test on one game. 3, maybe, yeah. On one game, like it could be an aberration. It could be an aberration game. Who knows? But at the end of the day, like it's the Falcons. Can't really talk much on that either. Like we'll see what it is though. Maybe him and DeAndre go off.
Well, I think that's the bigger question. I think the last thing you said was the most important. It's like, what is it enough to keep DeAndre there for more than the rest of the year? Because we thought that he was kind of just looking to be bought out.
There's no way to get him. He'd have to get cut.
Well, what I'm saying is, if you see promise from Levis, do you try to salvage the season, and is there renewed hope?
Oh yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm definitely more strict than you guys. I need 2 years of tape to consider you legit as a quarterback. It's still my.
No, I don't consider him legit. Just the early signs tonight.
I know.
It looks like you could see he's got an NFL arm. You could see that. 100%.
I'm not claiming
that. Good things about Purdy too.
Well, so you took words out of my mouth. So yeah, that his career hanging in the balance only in terms of are we qualifying him as legit? But so with Levis, yeah, I mean it was impressive when you have tape on guys, they're going to look great, especially out of the gate. But he took advantage of a situation, the opportunity. Atlanta isn't great, I waver on them a lot just because they're in a bad division. But I thought this was a quality win, and when you're at home, you take care of business. You got the crowd behind you. Let's see what they do in a couple of days against Pittsburgh. I think it's gonna be a big test.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. All right, guys. Just one more game to discuss. We have the Los Angeles Chargers play the Chicago Bears. The Tyson Bagent was a nice story, but it seems like he's not a threat for Justin Fields' jobs. And the Chargers is beating an Enable Bears team. They have Montez Sweat, so they're going all in. So give them credit. But besides that, the Chargers is getting ready for the real tough matchups ahead.
The Bears are really bad. mean, I'm being honest with you. Their defense is horrific. They're really bad. I don't want to make too much fun of the Bears. I mean, Justin Herbert finally showed up to play, but like you guys said, I think it's a little overrated too. I will continue to say that, until you got to prove it this week. You play the Jets, who are one of the best defenses in the league. You throw 3 touchdowns versus the Jets, put up 30 points. Then you got to put your money where your mouth is against the team you're going to be competing versus the playoffs against. If you're trying to make a name for yourself, Justin Herbert, you got to play good this week, like versus the Jets, versus an elite defense, versus Chicago. It's nice, it's nice. But I mean, the same defense also last year gave up, I want to say, like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns to Mike White. So it's like, it's kind of hard to evaluate with the Chicago Bears, because I think the Chicago Bears are kind of a shitty team.
Yes, watch that word.
They're kind of crappy. Is that better?
No
God.
words.
Chicago Bears are a
I got 2 topics.
bad team. A bad team, yeah.
I got notes, right? And I got 2 topics for both of these teams, right? And you touched them both basically. The Chargers basically needed this win, but it was an easy game. And because if he lost to the Bears, the Justin Herbert talk would just be through the roof. And then at the same time, it's nothing to call home about. Like at the same time, you know what I'm saying? And then 2 words for the Bears, just bad. Just bad.
Bad.
And then at the same time, under that, can't really knock them too much. Because of how bad they are.
I mean,
they played the Chargers.
No, this is the thing. This is the thing.
Won that game.
Versus the Jets, I'll give you the quarterback numbers versus the Jets, and I'm going to give you versus the Jets this season. I want to say Mahomes didn't have a good game. Josh Allen threw multiple interceptions versus the Jets. Jalen Hurts played bad. We got to see. We got to see how this quarterback, Justin Herbert, who claims he's the best quarterback claims one of the best quarterbacks in the league. We'll see how he plays. Week 1, Josh Allen, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. Chiefs, Mahomes, 203, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Eagles, he threw 3 interceptions versus the Jets. So it's like, the Jets have forced this season 8 interceptions and multiple fumbles. So this is going to be a good test for Herbert if he really wants to be taken as serious as an elite quarterback, how he competes versus the Jets.
And I agree with that too. Homeboy better have his.
Better play well with Jets once. Better be ready, because that team, that secondary is going to be all over Keenan Allen, and not Keenan Allen because he's hurt. But the receivers they have at LA,
Carter, everybody.
They got to be all over everyone on that team.
Why don't we go into the picks right now with it? Week 9 in the NFL. Week 9, guys. So yeah, we're past the halfway point officially.
Keenan Allen's still playing. He's got 643 yards, but I mean he's still playing. So he has 643 yards receiving. So hopefully they can shut down Keenan Allen and Eckler.
Perfect. So yes, we are now officially at the halfway point of the NFL season already. That's right. We are halfway there. Week 9 is going to start on Thursday with the Titans and Steelers matchup, where the Pittsburgh Steelers opening at -4.5. What's going to happen, guys?
Was it Steelers versus the who's the match from Steelers?
Titans are going to face the Steelers. The over-under is 36.5. Give me under 36.5, and then give me Will Levis, another game that will be seen nationally and get people more hyped for him.
I'm going the over on this game. I'm going the Titans 27-16.
I'm gonna go with the over on this one,
and the over.
I actually like the over on this one, because you might think it might be low, but out of nowhere, it might just get crazy on it. Especially if old boy's throwing 4 touchdowns. So let's see what's up. I'm gonna go with the over on this one though, and I'm gonna say it's a 20-28 game, Pittsburgh.
All right. Okay.
28-20.
I like the over as well, but just slightly. I got like 20 to 17 Pittsburgh.
Okay. So what's it? 36. 36 was the number, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, 36.
Yeah, 36.5. But
That's
yes, same thing. All right, continuing on, we're having another international series game. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins are playing in Frankfurt, Germany. All right, who cares about the Germany part? But regardless of the game itself, I'm sorry. I think the international series is so overrated. I don't know the numbers and the
Facts.
revenue that comes in.
Money grab.
But who cares? Who cares? Who cares?
I
Like,
mean, I think they should start making the games in Asia. To be honest with you, go to the sport in Asia. Like I think that'd be pretty cool.
might as well have, I mean, I am more favor of them in this country. They could do preseason games in
Yeah.
Asia and Europe and Australia. Do it
Play 'em
in
here.
Greenland.
Facts.
But I
Like
don't
they
know.
do with Mexico, right? They do preseason games in Mexico.
Yeah, like they've done Mexico, they've done Frankfurt.
Where the air quality is crap in Mexico. I feel like not helping anybody.
Yeah, I'll give you this game.
The spread is -2.5, over unders 50.5.
I'll take the under, but I'll take Kansas City. I'll take Kansas City 24 to 40.5 is the spread, or 50.
50.5,
50 and a half. Okay.
-2.5 is your spread.
I'll take Kansas City 24-23 over Miami with the last second field goal.
Okay. You said 24-23, so that would be +2.5 for the Dolphins there. Okay. For me, I'm going with a Dolphins victory as well. Give them the 2.5 points.
City. I'm taking Kansas City in this game. Kansas City.
Oh yeah. I'm saying the spread though. If it's a
the
1
spread.
point game.
Kansas City's favored in this game.
Yeah, Kansas City is favored by -2.5.
I'll take Miami. I'll take Kansas City money line in Miami with the spread.
Awesome. Me too.
How is Kansas City favored?
Yeah, I don't get that one either, but
because
They just got McCole Hardman back.
Well, let's think about
Why?
it. They are going overseas. It's going to be a big
Those
international game. Goodell's going to be there. You need to have the Kansas City Chiefs win. They'll probably get the refereeing crew from Giants Jets, who are the worst refereeing crew on paper, and they'll get Kansas City the win.
I'm gonna go with the Dolphins taking this one. I'll go with the under. What was the under?
50, right? You said
50.5.
50.5. I'll go with the under like
Go on, son.
17-24.
24-17.
24-17 Dolphins.
I'm definitely taking the over on this. I think it's a gimme. I think these are two high-powered offenses. I understand the concern with the time, with the changeover in time, but
it's more just 50 as a high spread, bro. Like both teams.
but these are both elite offenses. I think Miami takes care of business. I see them winning by 6 or 7 around a touchdown, and I see something right around like a 38-33 type of game.
Well, all right, it's fair. Won't knock you for that one.
Yeah, give me Kansas City. Give me the Dolphins at +2.5, and then over 50.5.
Yep.
What's next, guys? Let's go with the Seattle Seahawks playing the Baltimore Ravens. Huge game right here. Baltimore is your favorites at -5.5, and your over/under is 43. Give me the Seahawks. Give me the points there. I think they could win by a touchdown, and give me over 43 points.
Yeah, I'll take the over for this one. I think it's gonna be a really good game, actually. What was the over? 43, right?
That's right.
I'll take the over on this one. I'll go Baltimore 26-24.
I'll take the over on this one. I'm going with the Seahawks. I'm gonna go. It's kind of crazy, but I'm gonna go like 35-23.
No way. I got 24. I got a low scoring game. I got a 24-10 type of game because I never trust a West Coast team going to the East Coast on a 1 o'clock. Never happens. So I got the Ravens winning pretty handily. They'll control the clock. 24-10.
It's good. That's good, actually. West Coast teams never do well on the East Coast, so it's good. That's a good pick.
Good pick, Alex. Good pick. Okay, continue.
Good pick. Sorry.
Continuing on, the Arizona Cardinals are going to Cleveland. Cleveland's opening at -8, and your over/under is 37.5. Not a lot of scoring, faithful. So give me over that number, 37.5, and give me the steep -8 for Cleveland.
I'm taking Cleveland on this one.
What is
I'll go with
Cleveland?
the
4-3
over.
or 4-4?
Cleveland is 4-3.
4-3.
Yeah, I'll take
Wow.
Cleveland on this one. Wait, they're playing who?
Arizona.
Yeah. I'm taking Cleveland on this one. Arizona just lost what I believe was their offensive spark. So I don't know. I guess I'll go with the under for this one though.
No, this is a great week for overs. This is a great week for overs.
What's the
I
spread?
got Cleveland. It was 43 and a half.
Oh, 43.5. Point
Yeah.
total. And then Cleveland by 8. Cleveland by 8.
43 and a half.
This over-under is
I don't-
actually 37.5.
Pardon me.
37 and a half.
37 and a half. No, I mean that's even more tangible. I think Cleveland win. I don't think they cover, but I think that I'm definitely taking the over. I expect somewhere around a 30-21 type of game. I mean, pardon me, a 30-27 type of game. I think it'll be tight because I don't trust
You
either
think
quarterback.
there's going to be that many points in this game?
I do because even though they're both bad teams, I mean, here's the thing: Cleveland's good at home. They have a great defense, but I just don't trust a quarterback on either side. And I think there's going to be a lot of turnovers, a lot of short series, a lot of short fields. And I think they're good enough to convert. But I think this is going to be a sloppy, high-scoring game.
I'm gonna, now that I got the spread one more time, I'm gonna double down on the Browns, but I'm gonna go with the under, and I'm gonna go 33-3 the Browns.
33-3. Wow, bro. I wonder what been.
Bad week for unders, dog.
Wonder what you've been sniffing before, inhaling. But I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna be honest with you. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
I'm not erratic enough.
I'll go for this one. I don't know. I kind of don't like what I've seen on film from PJ Walker. I really don't like it. I think that Cleveland could be surprised in Clayton Tune. We haven't really seen him play, so there's not going to be much game film on him. I mean, I guess I'll go I don't know. I guess I'll take Cleveland 20-16. What's the
I don't know that
37.5.
Kareem Hunt's been giving their running offense that boost that Nick Chubb gave it when it was good. So I don't know. They running game.
I think Clayton Tune's going to play okay. Though. I do. I think Clayton Tune will keep them competitive.
And Myles Garrett had a phenomenal game in when they had last week, or is it
Yeah.
So
he was a beast versus Indy. He was a beast.
It's the Cardinals. I think he's going to run through that line.
All right.
Touchdowns.
Let's keep moving, guys. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to Houston. Houston is your 2.5-point favorites. 40 is your over/under. Give me Houston with the points minus 2.5, and give me over 40.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Tampa in this game. Tampa money line, and I'm gonna take them with 40. I'll take them 24-20 Tampa over Houston.
I got Texas taking this 30-23.
All right, let's keep it going. Alex, you there? I don't know where he is. Okay. The Chicago Bears are playing the New Orleans Saints. You're over under. What do you have for Houston, and what do you have for Houston versus? Well, I lost my place for Tampa. Houston minus 2.5 for Houston.
For Houston. Yeah, I got Houston in a one-score game. I think that they're going to bounce back and they win a pretty easy game. Yep.
Dope. The Chicago Bears are going to New Orleans. The Bears are your 7.5-point underdogs. Over/under is 41. Give me the Saints. Drinking a whole garden of milk. Give me the Saints. Minus 7.5. 41 points is going to be under.
Yeah, I'll take the Saints in this game 20-17. 27-10. So I guess that's an under game. But
I'm gonna go.
In the Superdome.
I'm gonna say Derek Carr has his next best game or his best game in that uniform. I'm gonna go with the what was it? What was the over under?
41.
Ooh, yeah, 41. Against that Saints defense, I really don't think that Bagnet Cake could do it. So I'm probably gonna go with the under on this one, and I'm gonna say 25 to like 3.
Okay. I see an over.
Sorry, 24-3. Saints.
Still, I mean, I see Bears cleaning up in garbage time. I see something like a 31-14 type of game, just because I think Saints will dominate, but they're definitely I'm definitely taking the over.
And the Bears just picked up Montez Sweat, so
Yep.
I could see Carr getting a little bit of pressure. So that's why I don't think it's going to be too much of a high scoring like game, but like it's going to be there. 24. I see him getting like at least 24 points.
Oh yeah.
Miami's going to Atlanta. Miami's your 5-point favorites. The over-under is 37.5. Okay, so we might have two different quarterbacks, maybe Taylor Heineke, and I don't know who the Vikings quarterback is. It hasn't been announced yet, but clearly a backup. Honestly, give me the Vikings. I think they could steal a victory and be underdog winners here and go 5-4. And your over-under is 37.5.
these teams
Give
is
me
going to
over
be
that.
5-4. God help us. Oh,
Yeah, one of them is.
God. Oh, God. I'll take Atlanta in this game, but what's the point spread?
37.5.
What's 37.5? Give me Atlanta with the under like 17 to like 13. This is gonna be a low scoring game.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I have a similar kind of output to what Hayden is predicting. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I think the Vikings do prevail because I think they're riding hot right now. I see something around a 21-14 type of game.
Bars, where you at?
I'm gonna ring it off with the same thing that Alex went out with. Low scoring game. Vikings taking it 21-14. Literal same score.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna see who's playing quarterback, either Desmond Ridder or Taylor Heineke on Wednesday.
I have more faith
Hopefully,
in
it's Taylor Heineke. For them, at least.
Yep.
The Los Angeles Rams are going to play the Green Bay Packers. The Rams are your 3-point underdog, so Green Bay -3, over under 39.5.
Rams
Give
are
me the
3-point underdogs. Wow.
yes.
That's
That
wild.
might be a steal. So give me Green Bay. Give me the Los Angeles Rams +3. Give me the over 39.5 points.
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams in this game too. I think both quarterbacks are gonna play well. So I'll go like 27. I'm actually gonna take a 27-26 game for the Rams.
I'm gonna see some of that action. I actually don't think Jordan Love has a good game in this game. I think that that secondary over there in the Rams gives them a little bit of trouble. I'm not saying that they're the greatest, but I definitely feel like Jordan Love in his like true rookie year, fully or his true starting year, I feel like he's gonna make that mistake, toss to a couple people he doesn't they're not really looking for on tape, or like just not feel the pressure coming in from Aaron Donald. We got to remember that defensive line still got a legendary gold on it. I'm gonna go with the Rams taking this one. I'm gonna go with like the Rams 35, the Packers like 10.
Oh wow.
Wow. You think it's gonna be a blowout? Okay.
I don't know what these margins are all about, but okay.
Straight up blowout.
Hopefully I run a business.
The reason, I'm gonna tell you why. Because we did like some over-unders, like what is it, last week or the week before, and those numbers that those teams won by were outrageous, like 40 and other things. Like, come on, I'm not taking any chances this time.
I don't know. Defenses are reigning supreme this year. They have a great year for the defense, but go for it. Put your correct scores on your sports books, and if you actually hit those, you will hit thousands of dollars.
I'm just looking at the 3 bold predictions I made for this season. One would be that the Saints would make the Super Bowl. One would be the Bills would make the playoffs, and one would be
Boldest.
would be the number 1 seed. Those are my 3 really really bold ones. But we'll see if any of them come close.
Yeah.
I got the Rams 24-13 in Green Bay. I was looking at the weather forecast. It should be clear and sunny too.
Washington going to New England. 2 teams that are very sad. So minus 3.5 is your Patriots spread. Your over-under is 40.5. Give me the Patriots bouncing back against Washington. Give me those 3.5 points. Give me over 40.5.
I'm taking the Commanders and I'm taking the over because I actually do feel like Sam Howell's been able to put points on the board this season. So give me the Commanders in this game, 30-20. I think it's gonna be over. Man.
I like that. I like that pick a lot, actually. I'm seeing something similar. Maybe 28-20 or 27-20, but I think it'll be relatively high scoring for Washington. I think that they've lost a lot of tough games that better than their build out to be, I think. And
I mean, they've scored 30 points in 3 games, three of the 8 games they played, almost half. So it's like, they scored 30. They scored 30 actually twice versus the Eagles, and they can put up
points.
They can put up points, yeah.
I'm gonna also go with a 30-point game for the Commanders, taking it like 31, like 17. Go like a 31-17.
We got a random 4:00 start for Indianapolis and Carolina. Indianapolis opening at minus 2.5. Over under is 44. I'm assuming they thought it'd be Bryce Young versus Anthony Richardson, but it's not. So, give me the Panthers continuing a winning streak plus 2.5. Give me over 44.
Yeah, I love the Panthers in this game. I think the Panthers are gonna win this game. I just think it's gonna be an under. I'll go like the Panthers. Like what was it? What did they win 15-13 last week versus the
Houston Texans.
It's gonna be like I'll give them like 20 to like 13 Panthers. I think they'll hold off Indy on the last drive.
Interesting. I like that take. I have the Colts winning a tight game on the road. I think it's gonna be low scoring. I'm expecting somewhere around a 20-17 type of game, just because I think the Colts will have more difficulty scoring on the road, and I think that Panthers could put up a little bit of pushback.
I concur to that take that you made. I got the Colts also taking this, but I have a flip that. I think the Colts actually throw about. I think the Colts have a really good game, so I'm gonna give them like 28, and I'm gonna say the Panthers score probably about 9 points.
Hayden, you big a pick?
What was the pick? Yeah, I made the pick.
Oh, excuse me. All right. What a matchup to discuss here. The New York Giants are going to play the Las Vegas Raiders. Anyways, so this is what's going to happen. Anyone hear something, or is that me?
Yeah, that was mine. Sorry.
Oh, you good. So the Vegas Raiders minus 2.5. Over under is 37.5. Give me the Giants at plus 2.5. They can't beat this team. This is a abomination. Sorry, Alex. I mean, no, I'm not sorry. I want them to beat your team. So give me over 37.5.
I want you to beat us too.
Perfect.
I'm gonna take the oh my god, this is a tough game to pick. I hopefully Daniel Jones plays well, hopefully, but like what is it, 37.5?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think this game's gonna go over. I don't really know why.
Sometimes go with your gut.
With these 2 offenses, oh my god, no, I'm not taking action. No, I'm not taking the over. I'm going the under in this game. I'm gonna take the Raiders in this game over the Giants.
Do you understand what both of this offenses is? It's like Helen Keller and Stevie Wonder trying to get out of a trap room.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, it's pretty bad. Both these offenses are oh my god, they're They're pretty bad. But that being said, like I think Daniel Jones will play well. Hopefully, if he doesn't get hurt, it's just God, this is a tough game to even pick.
Even if the Giants are there, could be good.
I mean, like,
Well,
I guess I'll go 16-10. The Raiders. Wow, Jesus.
Well,
I'm going with the.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I'm going to go with the under with this game. I'm going to pick the Raiders. I'm 17-13.
Yeah, this is a brutal game. This is another brutal game, but it can't be any worse than the last Giant game they played. So put it out there. They can't possibly be any worse than the Giants Jets. That game was oh my God, that was like I've had surgeries that were I think you could operate me without anesthesia and it would be less painful.
Mm-hmm. All right.
The thing with the Giants is you can't lose a bye, so they're fine.
Yeah,
It's definitely better. The Dallas game of the week. Dallas Cowboys are going to Philly, 425. The Eagles are your 3-point favorites. The over-under is 46. How's this game going to go? For me, give me Philly -3.
At Philly or at Dallas?
At Philly. So give me Philly -3, and your over-under, give me under 46.
Oh, I'm going the under. But I've got him. I'm gonna take Dallas in this game. God help me, because that's never proves that ends up being right. But I'm gonna pick Dallas in this game. I'm gonna go Dallas. What was it 46? You said the spread was?
Yes.
I'll give you Dallas 26-17.
I'm gonna go with the over on this one. I'm gonna give you Philly. I think this one's actually gonna be somewhat of a high-scoring game, or looks like it's going to be a high-scoring game, and then Philly's going to kind of just take off on Dallas. So I'm just going to kind of put it at go with the over. I'm going to say it's like 33-28.
I have 21-17 Philly. I think it's a low-scoring game. I think the only reason that it's even that high is because I think they'll make the second half adjustments with the offense.
Okay. Another interesting matchup. We have the Buffalo Bills going to Cincinnati. The Buffalo Bills are your favorites. Just kidding. The Cincinnati Bengals are your favorites at -2.5. The over-under is 48.5. Give me under 48.5 points and give me a win and the points for the Cincinnati Bengals -2.5.
I will take the Bengals in this game 30-27. So is that an over? It's an over, right?
Yes.
All right, yeah, I'll take the over. I'll take the over and I'll take the Bengals 30-27.
Well, we know what happened the last time they had a matchup in prime time in Cincinnati. So, yes. but I'm not making any jokes. I just think that it's too unpredictable with these two teams. What I'm going to get. I think that my brain takes Cincinnati, but my heart takes Buffalo. I think that Cincinnati probably prevails in a low-scoring game. I think 23-17.
I'm almost gonna take Buffalo.
Since he's got to get it back.
Yeah, I think Cincy's they're starting to hit a stride. I think Joe Burrow's starting to get healthy.
I think so. He looked good last week. He looked
really good. Pretty good. Yeah, he played pretty good.
I got the Bills taking this one. 28-17.
All right.
Okay. We have the Connecticut Huskies playing the Tennessee Volunteers. Tennessee's opening at -34.5. Your over-under is 53.
Stop being so mean.
This is the joke. I always ask. I always do top 25 picks, but I always ask the UConn game just for Alex. But pick it. Can UConn lose by less than 35 points?
UConn, they're going to lose. No
19th ranked Tennessee.
Actually, I don't know. I'll talk about the actual football games.
I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth. I'd rather talk about the Jets right now.
Well, that's what you'll get.
So
So
the game
Monday
of the
night.
year, the game of the year, my friend, UConn football versus UMass, the real game.
Oh
of the
yeah,
year.
I'm on the
The
edge of my
real game of the year, my guy.
So
Someone's got to win
Monday
that
night.
game, unfortunately.
So before that, we have Monday Night Football. The Los Angeles Chargers are playing the New York Jets. The Jets are your 3-point underdogs. So -3 for Los Angeles, and over under is 41.5. Give me over 41.5, and give me -3 for the Chargers.
Oh my God, I'm gonna go. I mean, when you're playing with the Jets, what's the point totals? What's the spread? Or what's the point total? I mean,
41.5.
oh, when you're playing the Jets, I think he's gonna go over. Actually, it's surprisingly an over game. I'm gonna go the Jets 23. I'm just taking this as a God rest my soul, but I'm gonna take the Jets 23. Scoring 23 points for the Jets is like as miracles are gonna have to happen for them to score 23 points, which I'm gonna keep saying. The defense will force some turnovers and whatever. So I'll go 23-20 Jets over the Chargers. By the way, not related, but like UConn has lost the last. UConn has been in four straight one-score games. So just
Can
putting
we
out.
not talk about how bad they are, please?
No. They only lost.
All
by
my
6
teams
Keep
suck.
talking.
Thank you very much.
and they only lost by 3 to South Florida. So BC's a bowl team right now. South Florida.
NFL.
So,
I think this is the easiest under game of the week. I'm not sure what you guys are seeing because for the reasons you outlined, like this is an anemic offense with the Jets.
Oh no, this game screams under. I'm honestly just taking. Hopefully the Jets will win this game. I'm just taking it as a fan.
But I don't trust Chargers to show up in prime time. So I have something really like low scoring. I have 13-10 type of game.
13-10. Ooh, wow.
Yep.
All right. I hope we can get the Jets to score more than 13 points, but that's a lot. It's hard for the Jets to do. So because we've seen it, seen it week in week out. So with Zach Wilson at least. So
Go ahead, boys.
Mr. the God.
and it also doesn't help when you go like 0 for 40 on third down. So it doesn't help. But they got like one. No, they want like 1 for like. It was brutal in that game. So their down offense has been atrocious.
So I don't know how to call this one, to be honest. Deadass. Like while one might think Herbert might have a great game against the Jets, right? Like that Jets defense is actually kind of good. So
Scratch that.
It's like
we went 2 for 15 on third down. So scratch that. The actual number.
It's a toss up. Y'all can have a good game. Who knows? It's a toss up. And it just takes Herbert to have a bad day, and that Chargers team to lose it. And like all the Chargers, all they got to do is let y'all stay in the game. If y'all stay in the game, the Jets have like a real big chance of winning it, even with Zach Wilson as your quarterback. So, like, I think my heart, everything in my gut says go with the Jets, but I'm gonna take the Chargers, and I'm gonna say that they continue this winning trend.
Boy, Nico were here, he would be proud of you.
I'm gonna say they continue the winning trend. I will go as far as to say that they even score 23 points.
Whoa! Wow!
23 points is not that crazy, to be honest.
No, that's the whole joke.
Yeah.
We will see how that battle unfolds. All right, gentlemen. Great work. Week 9 should be a good one. And let's see if it all comes to fruition. All right, Alex, Hayden, and Bars. Great work. We'll see you soon.
Happy Halloween, guys.
Yo.